Hey guys, welcome back. In today's video, we'll be doing a deep dive analysis covering the latest updates with the big three Bitcoin miners. We'll talk about the production numbers announced today from Mara, Riot, and CleanSpark, and we'll be doing a deep dive technical analysis of Bitcoin and the big three Bitcoin miners, what my price prediction of Bitcoin, Mara, Riot, and CleanSpark is for the rest of 2025. How high can the Bitcoin price go, as well as the big three Bitcoin miners? Most of you are wondering, is now a time to buy, sell, or hold? Now, if you're new to this channel, first off, I would really appreciate hitting the like, subscribing for more related content. Let's get started, guys. First off, let's cover the biggest Bitcoin miner, Mara. Fred today posts a record month for May with mining productions, and Mara showed that they're able to have a record high of 282 blocks earned in May. That's a 38% increase month over month. In fact, in May, Mara mined 950 bitcoins. That's a 35% increase. Now their total Bitcoin hodl is 49,179 bitcoins. So come, the next month, once we get towards, July, early July, when we announce June numbers, we're gonna have Mara get to that 50,000 Bitcoin milestone achievement. So definitely some huge numbers. In fact, each day Mara is, mining, close to about 31 Bitcoins per day. Share of available miner rewards, they're getting 6.5% with the energized hash rate of 58.3. So there's no other company right now that has this type of hash rate. So Mara just continues to bring lots of bitcoins to their balance sheet, and right now they're right behind MSTR strategy with over 280,000 Bitcoin. So definitely some great solid numbers with Mara's announcement today. Ronald posts his technical analysis price targets of $19 and $25. So what he's saying is that there's higher lows in place, an inverse head and shoulders pattern forming, but needs to exceed the $17 area. After that, the target comes into play. First target is at the Fibonacci retrace level at $19.51. Then there is a huge volume shelf target at $25. So this drawing of an inverse head and shoulders, which is one of the key or one of the best technical analysis indicators where, we're having a forecast of like, $25 in the near term. Let's look at CleanSpark's posting. So May Bitcoin mining update. So CleanSpark came out, announcing big time numbers as well. 694 bitcoins mined in the month of May. Now current total hodl of 12,500 and 2,000 bitcoins. CleanSpark is ramping up their hash rate. 45.6 exahash now. They're getting close to that halfway point where their goal is to get to 50 exahash by end of June. So they have about 3 weeks to ramp up to less than five more exahash, and they're going to be able to achieve that, and they're going to be right behind Mara. In fact, their fleet efficiency, I mean, they're like second place when it comes to fleet efficiency. Iron is like at 15 joules per terahash, but CleanSpark, having 16.71. So definitely some huge upside when it comes to fleet efficiency costs for every Bitcoin that's mined. Now, in terms of deployed Bitcoin mining fleet, they have about 230,000 currently in place. That's implemented right now with 987 megawatt under contract. So definitely some record numbers from CleanSpark. And what does that mean for CleanSpark just based on price predictions? Now, Logan, he's forecasting that CleanSpark, to $24 in the next 24 days. So Logan is very bullish in that June can be a send it month for CleanSpark along with the miners, because if CleanSpark can run, if Mara runs, then the big three Bitcoin miners will follow. I mean, these three companies go hand in hand together. Riot announces as well in May their production and operations update. So significant improvement as well. Bitcoin produced 514 Bitcoins mined in the month of May. Now their total HODL is 19,225,000 Bitcoins on their balance sheet. Most of you are wondering why isn't this number going up? Now, Riot, does have to pay the bills as well. So they did sell about 500 Bitcoins in the month of May. CleanSpark also sold Bitcoin as well. Riot, their total deployed hash rate is at 35.4 exahash, and their overall goal for the year 2025 is to get to like 38 exahash. Additionally, they were able to acquire all-in power costs of 3.8 C over kilowatt. Now, one of the things is that Riot was able to gain a credit of like $2 million dollars with the energy credit that they did not utilize, and that will really just help offset the costs and really improve their operation standpoint when it comes to profitability to reduce the cost expenditure. So definitely some huge improvement. And when you look at it from like a year to year comparison, May 2024 compared to May 2025 when it comes to Bitcoin production, they've went over like 100% in terms of operational improvement with the Bitcoin production when it comes to scaling up the operations. And one of the upsides with Riot with the announcement is they just hired a new leader on board to scale out the operations for AI data centers. That was announced yesterday. And also Riot was able to acquire, land acres, like a third of the size of the Corsicana facility, nearby vicinity to scale out that operation. So definitely very unique situation in that Riot has that power capacity in the land to really develop and scale out their HPC AI ecosystem. I mean, Dan's Trader, he's posted that Bitcoin name are setting up for a breakout as soon as possible. And he has coin for Coinbase and Mara and Riot with huge upsides coming. And we've seen that on the technicals. We'll cover the technicals as well, but definitely some huge upside with these players. Fibonacci Trading, he posts on the daily trend cloud flipped green for Riot. Now the retest begins. On the daily time frame, Riot's story gets more compelling. The trend cloud just flipped from deep red to green, a significant shift in momentum, and now we're seeing the classic retest of the cloud to confirm it as support. So we're seeing that green cloud formation. So, obviously we do see, the technicals reversing. We'll cover more in detail, but this is definitely bullish from Fibonacci trading in that we're now seeing that red cloud dissipate and now we're seeing it shift to green, which gives us bullish momentum pattern. Let's take a look at the technicals of Bitcoin. So we're looking at Bitcoin on the hourly candle. Definitely during the day, we did see, Bitcoin run up to like 106,000. It had some resistance at 106,648, didn't break through that 107,000 barrier. But the key thing is we're consolidating, we're hovering above the Ichimoku cloud on the hourly candle. That's a good thing. We want to continue to see, Bitcoin consolidate, not run up too fast and just have it float above the Ichimoku cloud. This is a key indicator that we want to see where price activity is above the cloud, not below the cloud. Why? Because when it's below the cloud, that's where there could be some heavy pullbacks. That's that gravitational pull down. As we scale out on the daily candle, one of the good things that we see is that, we've broken out of that Ichimoku cloud since April when we had that huge pullback for many months, but we're still hovering above that Ichimoku cloud. It's sunshine and rainbows, clear skies, and like what Tom Lee forecasted in the year 2025, Bitcoin can go anywhere from 150,000 to even 250,000. That's that range that Tom Lee is forecasting. Let's take a look at technicals of Mara. So, we definitely do see an inverse head and shoulders, which I have drawn in teal here. And one of the key things that we're seeing is that, with this bull flag that's drawn out for many months, we saw that run up top November of $30. What has happened since Mara dropped from $30 to $9.80? That's a big pullback, heavy volatility. We didn't meet that basement low, which is drawn out with that inverse head. What do we see with the MACD? We saw bearish convergence, and what has happened since the April-May timeframe? RSI was hugely oversold below 20, and now we see a reversal with the MACD. What do I foresee? We're gonna see, a green volcano wave where we're gonna see that MACD build up with lots of vertical green candles on the MACD, and we're also seeing the price activity break out of that bull flag, in addition to soon having a golden cross on the 9 to 21 day on the EMA. And that's a good thing because when we last saw that bearish intersection with the EMA on the 9 to 21 day, that was like back in like early February. So we've been many months out since that last bearish intersection. So now we're going to see that bullish intersection kick in, and I think we're going to be off to the races with Mara. I really do see we have that 3 to 10x potential with Mara. We've seen the breakouts, during the last cycle. It shot up from single digits to like $80. The cycle before that, we've seen it shoot up as well. So when these run, it runs in waves. Let's take a look at Riot Platforms technical analysis. We're also seeing a similar pattern, inverse head and shoulder as well. That run up top, it got to like, close to $16, and then what happened? It dropped all the way down to that low $6. We have that basement low established, that inverse head and shoulders being formed as well. And what are we seeing on the technical? So we saw some heavy pullback. RSI was below 20, similar deal. MACD, we saw a huge MACD bearish convergence, and we just see the MACD crossing with the blue and the orange, and that gives us an indicator on the weekly charts that we're going to start seeing green, volcano candles established on the MACD. We're actually seeing that right now. We see a bullish engulf pattern, on the daily, on the weekly here as well, and that's a key sign to see, more activity coming in, more volume, and just based on the technicals, the fact that the price activity broke out of this bull flag, and the fact that we're seeing that the EMA is getting close to that crossing. That crossing took place, sometime in early March with the price activity. But I do think that, we may very well have that EMA 9 to 21 day crossing coming very soon. On the near term, we're gonna have to see that retest of like $10. But what we saw with the prior resistance, the mid tier, was that Riot price was hovering in that mid $12 range from like November to February for many months. So that's definitely expected. That's going to be to come. And I definitely do see that, we may very well see a big breakout. Riot Platforms in the year 2025, 3 to 10x is very possible. We've seen that happen as well. It may have that XRP, XRM, stellar lumens type of play where it's been dormant for many years and it just shoots up like altcoin performance. Let's take a look at CleanSpark performance as well. So similar deal, the big three Bitcoin miners have the same type of technicals. We see an inverse head and shoulders. The MACD has been, just on a bearish trajectory as well, but we're beginning to see the MACD show signs of, of convert bullish divergence pattern. We saw CleanSpark, recently break out, get back into that double digit range. I do think that with the numbers we saw on the fundamentals, mining close to 700 Bitcoins, it's only a matter of time. CleanSpark is, just going to get back into that double digit range. The key retest level is somewhere around that, $16, which we've seen happen like since February of 2024, up through July 2024, along with November 2024. So definitely some huge upside. We could very well see, it get back to that prior resistance, which, the other posting that I shared with you on X, $24 come June timeframe. So definitely that's going to be this level three tier prior resistance. But anything can happen when these things run. It runs with very high velocity. So, I wouldn't be surprised if it shoots up from here on out, to that $24 range. But definitely in 2025 with Bitcoin price expected to go up, CleanSpark can go anywhere from like, 3 to 10x as well. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed an episode where I covered the latest updates with the big three Bitcoin miners, production numbers with Mara, Riot, and CleanSpark. All three companies came out providing updates, and this has really changed the investor confidence in the Bitcoin miners as well. And we also talked about the technical analysis of Bitcoin and where I see price of Bitcoin going in the year 2025. We may very well have it run up to $200,000, maybe 180,000 by the end of the year. But what does this mean for Mara, Riot, and CleanSpark? When Bitcoin, doubles in price, Mara, Riot, and CleanSpark can, shoot up from anywhere from like 3 to 10x. We've seen that happen in the last two bull cycles where these, you know, performances, shoots up like, altcoins type of play. So I wouldn't, try to time the market, but, time in the market is going to be very important because when these puppies run, it's going to run big time. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you. I'll catch you on the next one. Take care, guys.